All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Elite Health and Wellness Show. My name's Clay. I'm one of the owners at Elite Health Online, and this is Boomer, co-owner and a founder of EliteHealthOnline.com. Today, we have an exciting episode where we're going to be sharing some of the newest processes we've come up with to make things better. We really listen to our patients and what we can do to make the therapies and the solutions that we bring to the marketplace the most affordable. So, Boomer, you want to kind of talk about where we've been and what brought this change about. I think the audience today will really benefit from, particularly if they're not a patient yet, understanding what is it like to be a patient in this world. Maybe I'm going to a clinic somewhere else.
Right.
They kind of all look the same, and then there's some smoke and mirrors, and you find out it's very different. So today, what we want to do is kind of walk the audience through how do we look similar, but then behind the scenes, where are we really different? There's some hidden things out there.
So to do that, let's do it this way. Let's go back and kind of give a little bit of a history, right? Yeah. So first of all, you and I are patients, first of all, right? And we began our health and wellness journey and HRT journey a long time ago. And so what we have today with Elite Health Online, really, I would say, is born out of the gaps and frustrations we experienced as patients.
Yeah, we said, look, what are we seeing? We can develop a world class. We can fix this.
Right.
Everyone else is operating from the old, I'm the doctor. This is my system. Come in and work through my processes.
Or come over here and because, this protocol says I have to do this and this one says I have to do this. Well, what if that protocol is not right for the patient, right?
Yep.
And we saw some people that did it right and some people that didn't do it so well. But clearly what we did is we were able to identify, hey, here are some gaps that need to be addressed and here are some problems that need to be addressed. And then we came up with an idea and said, we can do this and we can do it better than anybody else is doing it out there. Because really, look, patients at the end of the day, they just want something that's simple, right? They want something that is efficient. They want something that addresses their concern. They want somebody that listens to them, right? Well, here's the benefit of being kind of a small company, then I'll come back, is we can still move pretty quick. Right. We can turn on a dime very quickly. We can make changes. One of the things that we said we're going to do when we started this company, we wrote the business model, was we're not going to be gimmicky.
Yep.
We're not going to try to do what everybody else is doing.
No hidden costs.
No hidden costs. We're not trying to vacuum all the money out of your wallet. That's not what we're in this for. Right. We're in this to actually serve our patients, serve a purpose, provide a good quality service, provide a good quality product, make it as fast and efficient and accessible as we possibly can. Right.
What's the number one thing we talk about in our meetings constantly is patient retention.
Right.
We believe that when you take this health journey, when you take a wellness journey, an anti-aging journey, it's a lifelong journey, which then means that if you find a reputable provider that provides the services you need and a convenient, let's think about our three uniques, right? Convenient, comprehensive, and progressive.
Right.
What do you want in any business? I don't care if you're choosing to buy a computer or, a table. You want something that's easy, convenient, right. Comprehensive, they offer the full range of services. If you're going to add chairs later, you can get something that matches. And then progressive. Is it different? Is it unique? Does it have all the, bells and whistles that you want? And can it deliver? Or is it just, basic model?
Right.
And we really do all three of those, and we do it in a very cost-effective manner. But I think a lot of times people see through advertising, through Facebook, that, well, there's this clinic out there that's advertising $99 a month hormone replacement therapy. Surely that's cheaper. What they're missing is those elements of, well, how many visits a year do I have to go through? What are the lab costs? And then what are the hidden fees that are out there? And so we consistently see things like $99 a month hormone replacement therapy, or people that go to the low T center and pay, a flat fee per month, but then also get their insurance billed through copays and the hassles.
Right.
And I think if we could, let's walk through the three uniques and let's talk about convenient, comprehensive, and progressive. And I'll kick us off with convenient and how we're different. And so let's walk through that, and you add on here for the audience where I missed something. Convenient being there's really not another option out there where you could be driving in your car at your kid's sporting event, in your office, and have a 20-minute plus conversation with a provider at your convenience. You pick the time.
Right.
Morning, evenings, Saturdays, you name it. We'll visit with you when we can, and our provider will call you on your phone and have that conversation.
Right.
So it's super convenient. It couldn't be easier.
So let me piggyback on that for just a minute. So let's juxtapose that with the typical way that medicine has occurred in the past, okay? First of all, if I need an appointment, I have to call. and I have to ask if there's any appointment available. And I may not get an appointment with my doctor until today's Monday. I might not get it till next Thursday or the Thursday after. And hey, we only have 4:15 available while I work. Well, I'm sorry, that's all we have available, right? So number one, that's not convenient.
Nope.
Next thing is I have to drive to that clinic. I have to probably take time off work, which is going to cost me money. Then I have drive time to that clinic, which is time, and then it's resources in terms of gas because I'm paying for that. Then there's going to be a wait time. And
it's a half a day.
The average wait time is 30 minutes, probably, maybe even a little bit longer. And then at that point, once I get back and I see that doctor, to your point, with Elite Health Online, you're going to get 20 minutes uninterrupted, exclusive time with our provider.
Longer if you need it.
Longer if you need it. Okay. More appointments if you need it. Right. On average, if I go see that doctor that I really had to work so hard to get an appointment with, he's going to give me about 7 minutes. Okay. Because that's really all he has to give me. So he has time to go and do the documentation he needs in order to get paid for that visit. Right. Yeah. So it's when you think about things like that, it really makes it extremely inconvenient. Right. And in terms of the price, we can get into that too. But one thing I always want to kind of tell people to be leery of is anybody who advertises price first. Okay. There's always a catch. In 100% of the cases, there's a catch.
Before we go down the price route, let's come back to how convenient and easy. I just want to make it real simple for the audience. How do you become a patient? There's really two ways. If you're ready to book, you hear us today and you think, I'm ready to go with these guys. I want to get my hormones checked and I want to either convert from another clinic or I want to start in on this therapy and I want to utilize these guys. Real simple. Go to elitehealthonline.com, click on book telehealth appointment. From there, you will simply answer a few questions related to where you are. We want to be able to pick you out of a crowd. We're going to ask some questions about your diet, your exercise regimen today. Where are you? What are your goals? And I guarantee if we were to walk in a waiting room, we'd be able to find you or at least narrow you down to a couple of people. We want to understand who you are and what you want to accomplish. You're going to pick a date and time for that consult, and then a lab requisition is going to be sent to you within about 24 hours to go to any LabCorp in the United States. You go to labcorp.com, put in your zip code, and I guarantee you there'll be one within reasonable driving distance, probably within less than 5 miles if you live in a major metropolitan area. You're going to get your labs drawn, and then those are going to be interfaced back to our office where they're going to be waiting on the provider to pull up your chart. And our providers look into the charts the night before, study the patient, and come up with a plan basically for you. Then you have a conversation with them on the day of your visit. They're going to call you at your convenience at the time that you selected, and they're going to start into that conversation. You're going to get a 20-minute conversation. Ultimately, at the end, they're going to lay out a plan of action for you that's going to allow you then to decide as the CEO of your health to decide, which of the options am I going to start with today? We're not going to force anything on you or demand it. We're going to let you decide what can you afford within your budget and what do you want to start with from a standpoint of what's most important to me. Some patients will start with the whole kitchen sink. I want it all. Budget's not an issue and I'm not concerned about it. I'm going all in. Other patients are like, let me start with a couple of things here and let me advance in my therapy as my knowledge and comfortable with the medication. So that's just how convenient it is. And then really at the end of that, talking about just super convenient. When you leave a doctor's office, how many times do people have questions? I can't remember everything that the doctor said, or they mix things up. We send you a comprehensive patient report. It's called a post-treatment care or post-appointment treatment care plan, I think is what I don't.
One of those things.
Well,
it's a post-care treatment.
It's a post-care treatment plan. There we go. And this is something that it goes through how you're going to communicate with us, how you can reach us if you have questions, what's going to happen next. It goes through every medication that your doctor prescribed and why you're taking them and how you take them. In addition to that, it's going to go over some other things like the importance of donating blood regularly, your water intake, your diet, your nutrition. So you're going to actually have a report you can look back to and almost go through the entire visit again because it's hard to remember everything a doctor talked about.
Let me touch on a couple of things with convenience too, since that's the topic we're talking about. First of all, let's go back to the labs for just a minute. Right? Well, okay. Yes, it's convenient. Okay. So we use LabCorp. Okay. And we know that labs themselves are not the most convenient process, right? Because I mean, it's not, you really can't draw your own blood at home and try to submit it, right? So what do we have to do? We have to go someplace. We have to have somebody draw our blood. We have to go through that because we have to make medical decisions based on blood work. Otherwise, we don't know what to do for you. Our providers don't know what to do for you. But what we try to do is take that barrier completely away because while we can't do anything about you having to drive to a place to get your blood drawn. Okay. Maybe we can do something about that in the future. Maybe we can.
We've got some
right
things
now.
coming.
Right. Yeah. And we'll kind of touch on that in a minute. we at least wanted to take the barrier of being able to get those labs away. So we are the home of free labs, right?
Yep.
We're not going to sit here and try to charge you a whole bunch of money for labs. We're not looking to make money on that at all. So we don't want that to be a barrier. Again, while we can't do anything about you having to go someplace and get them drawn, we want to make that process as convenient as we possibly can. On the post-care treatment plan, you asked a question. I want to address it. You said, if you leave a traditional doctor's office, what can you do if you have questions and need to contact that office? Really, it's the phone. Okay. Yep. I have to try to call and see if I can get his nurse or the MA or somebody on the line, or maybe hopefully the front desk person might be able to answer my question, possibly. Well, we talked about this yesterday in our meeting.
Yep.
How many different avenues we have to get in contact with us, right? You can go back to our website, got a question, click that button, schedule a time to talk. Right. You might get a time in the next 30 minutes. You might get a time tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's talk about what happens at the traditional doctor's office.
Okay.
I'm going to call. Mary, the nurse, is not going to be able to take my call right now because she's seeing patients.
Right.
So she's going to give me a call back. They're going to take my number down. Where am I going to be when she calls back?
Oh, who knows?
Come on, we're in a meeting.
Yeah, working.
I'm at my kids. I'm doing something. I can't take the call.
Right.
And so we're going to play phone tag for 3 days.
Right.
Again, by clicking on that button, what we've created is a way for you to tell us what time you want us to call.
Right.
When it's convenient for you. And we're going to do that within the next 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
And you're going to get your question answered. And dang good and well to pick up the phone at that time. And that's going to work.
Or if you're like me and you don't like the phone, email. You can email us.
Yep.
Right. I mean, there's several different ways to communicate with us. We do have a phone number. We specifically kind of route that to a place where we can answer your question hopefully a little bit faster. We have live chat right there on our website.
Live chat will answer all of your questions. It takes a few minutes, but if you don't want to pick up the phone and call, you'll get it answered.
I'm seeing a lot more people going toward the live chat, to be totally honest with you. I'm a little bit behind the times on that. So.
And then we have an FAQ section where if you really want to learn about it at the clinic, but I want to go back to 2 things real quick. Remember, one is if you're not quite ready to click on that book telehealth appointment, you have questions about, do you qualify? I'd really like to understand more about the clinic. You can click on, I think it's learn more. Don't remember exactly what the button is at the top there, but there's an option there to book an appointment with a hormone optimization specialist.
Right.
And that is where you get a 15-minute phone call with one of our patient care coordinators who will talk to you about what you're currently experiencing, give you an idea about the therapy we might recommend. Of course, she's not the provider, but she has a pretty darn good idea about how our providers practice.
Right.
And she'll give you an idea about cost as well, which we're going to come back to later. And then she'll actually take your information down there and actually get you booked if that's what you want to do. So you want to roll out the red carpet. You don't have to go through all that.
Right.
Then you can click the button and we'll take you through that over the phone. But you get to select the time that you want us to schedule that appointment. Right. And she'll call you at that designated time. Yep. And then on the lab work, I want to talk about convenience there. A lot of people are confused because LabCorp, of course, wants you to book an appointment to come in. And that's hard for people to do. But don't be confused. LabCorp, you can do a walk-in.
Right.
And in most of their walk-in situations, you will not wait very long. And you don't have to be fasting for our blood work.
That's right.
And another huge convenience when we're talking about lab work is where there's a lot of hidden costs with other clinics is they want lab work every quarter. And that's sold as, well, we're monitoring you very, very closely. But as a lab professional who spent 20 plus years running and managing labs and has a degree in laboratory medicine, let me tell you, labs in our world don't change that frequently.
Right.
Even if you had an elevated PSA or something to be concerned about, we're gonna have to monitor it a little bit longer than just 1 quarter, one elevated number. And so we do visits once every 6 months. That's just not something you find. You can have a visit if you need to. Something's not working for you. Get a free consult back. And you're only going to do lab work twice a year.
Right.
So I don't know how to make that any more convenient at the moment. But be careful when you're out there looking at other clinics and it looks cheaper. You may be doing quarterly labs and quarterly visits. And there's a price to be paid there.
Well, there is, and some of our competitors are even requiring monthly visits too, because look, they've identified, and every business has to do this, but they've identified where they believe their profit margins are at, right? So when they say things like, "Oh, we require quarterly visits or monthly visits or quarterly labs," you can pinpoint that's where they've decided their profit margins are going to be. Because to your point, yes, we need a baseline on our patients. We need to find out where they're at, right? And we need to monitor that on a 6-month basis. But to be completely honest, after a couple of 6-month consultations, we're going to have a pretty good idea of where that patient's going to be. And to your point, it's not going to change that much. So we don't need to require a whole lot that's not necessary.
And I have patients ask from time to time, well, don't you need to monitor my labs, 3 to 4 weeks after I start therapy? And we're like, no. I'll tell you why, because we're not treating numbers.
Old school.
And as a laboratory professional, and most doctors know this, but this is not how they practice because it's usually CYA, but we're going on how you feel.
Right.
So we're going to give you a therapy that we know is designed to move you from this point to here, and how you feel is more important than the number.
That's right.
The number's really irrelevant. Your chemistries aren't changing, your blood pressure's not changing, things like that. You'll know. But we're not looking to give you a certain number. We're looking to get you at peak performance and how you feel.
How you feel.
If we're treating numbers, I can just tell you this from running labs and working in hospitals for years. Doctors that treat numbers are not treating patients.
Right.
And any good doctor will tell you, don't treat numbers, you treat the person.
How many patients do we have that their numbers look okay, right? Maybe a really active dude, maybe he's a little bit bigger, 6'4", maybe he's, well over 200 pounds, works out a lot. And, on his lab report, it'll show his testosterone is at 700, but he swears that he is symptomatic. Well, okay, I see what the lab is saying, but I'm telling you, I'm still having these symptoms. We're going to put that number aside and we're going to treat to the symptoms at that point. Right.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it happens a lot, actually.
So I think we've covered the convenient. Again, people are too busy these days to, why do we pay? You give a great analogy often when we're talking about this. Why do you pay more for an energy drink or candy bar at 7-Eleven? It's convenience.
Right.
I'm okay with that. I know I can go to Costco or one of the big box stores and buy them at half price, but I need the convenience.
But it's an investment, man. You got to find parking at these places.
With us, you're not necessarily paying more for the convenience, but we do need convenience in this world. But the second unique to us is the comprehensive. And comprehensive, in my opinion, is we do everything from weight loss to balancing your hormones, which is a weight loss component, to libido, to wellness, and then what I call anti-aging, with some of the things we talked about with Michaela here on a recent podcast around NMN and NAD and things that actually do extend lifespan, and health.
Man, one of the cool things I like about what we do is, and I think you'll agree with this, is a large part of what we do is we not buck the system. I don't want to say that necessarily, but we're not afraid to go try things that maybe other clinicians are a little bit hesitant to try, right? We don't just do something that doesn't have data behind it. I mean, it needs to be clinically, there needs to be efficacy, there needs to be clinical data backing this up. What we learn is that there are so many really good products and therapies that are out there that have really been available for such a long period of time, but for some odd reason, our traditional healthcare industry has been very averse to it, didn't want to try it, right? So we're not afraid to give it a shot, okay? Now we do it, and sometimes, we're kind of the guinea pigs. Maybe we'll try it first, our providers will try it first, and then we'll come back and report on it. And we do, we want the input of a lot of professionals. We're not just trying something that doesn't have any data behind it or has not been somehow approved, for use. But that being said, one example that, and I always go back to this example because it's my favorite one, is oxandrolone, right? You'd be amazed how many, well, you wouldn't be, but I think the audience would be amazed how many clinicians are so averse to that because it developed such a horrible reputation back in the 80s.
They've never even looked.
They've never even tried it. Another prime example is peptides. Peptides, we said a couple of years ago that's going to be the future of medicine. I think the future is here now, right? A little bit ago, we were talking to Michaela back in the green room. She was telling us of these 2 new peptides that she learned about at the A4M conference she was just recently at. And I'm sitting there going, this sounds amazing. You guys got to get on this right now, and that's what they're trying to do.
Well, think about the oath doctors take, and it's an old school mindset. First, do no harm.
Right.
But I remember back in college learning about the future of medicine. We weren't just going to be able to treat illnesses anymore. We were actually going to move into a wellness model where people were going to be proactively able to take their health into their hands, and there would be medication and advances in medicine. I think when that oath was written, first do no harm, it was when the oath was, we treat sick people. The doctor comes by your house and makes a house call when you're sick. He's not coming by with trying to optimize you and give you the best life possible.
Right.
So is there a risk with any medication? Well, 100%. But these medications that we're prescribing generally don't have contraindications with other medications. They don't have serious reactions. Sometimes people have some side effects from some of the things they take. They might get with semaglutide, a GI, but we're not talking major things. So we're in a world now where we're not just trying to avoid a problem. We're actually trying to get ahead of a problem.
Right.
And that's where we move in from the convenient and the comprehensive into the progressive, right? You're dealing with a progressive clinic that actually is going to help you do what our mission statement is, and that is improve your life. And you can't do that without taking some risk, right? If we go to the gym and we train hard, is there some risk of getting injured?
Always.
I mean, it's part of the game, right? But why do you go on vacation and go hiking? Is there a risk? job. You want to get to the top and see the view. And so we're progressive. We do things a little more aggressively than most clinics. Not a dangerous model.
And being progressive is no matter in how you look at the word progressive is going to be a little bit synonymous with risk, right? Because by virtue of the word itself, you're doing something that kind of nobody's done before, right? You are progressing more than your competition. You're not afraid to take risks and do some things. Now it's going to be calculated, right?
Sure.
To your point, but at the same time, you watch any television commercial or read anything online about some kind of medication from a pharmaceutical company, that list of risks and side effects is as long as your
those
arm.
don't exist with our meds.
This doesn't exist with our medication.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist with it, right?
Yeah.
No, so there's a lot of ways, and I like the fact that our third unique is progressive because we do consider it from a product standpoint, but we also consider it from a business standpoint, meaning we can do things. In the way that we run our business allows us to do some things that we really do need to be doing. One of the things that I've always been very proud of is the fact that we listen to our patients. Right? And, while we can't address every single solitary thing that we hear, we do address the things that keep coming at us. Right. So one thing I want to talk about is what we have rolling out in 2023. And I think this is progressive. Right.
Yeah. Before you go there, where are you going?
All right.
Let me come back to our store because I think that's probably the most progressive thing we've done in the past. So with most physician offices, how do you get your refills?
You have to call them.
Oh, yeah, that's real fun, right?
Yeah, and convenient.
Yeah, and convenient. With us, we have a refill store. If you're at elitehealthonline.com, go there, look up at the top, and click on refills and add-ons. So if you're a patient and your doctor talks to you about, let's say, a couple of anti-aging medications, you can jump on some things for weight loss and some hormone replacement. Maybe you don't take advantage of the glutathione at the moment. You decide later, I'm going to add that, or I need to add on. I've been on 10 weeks of glutathione. It's time to reorder. You simply click on the refill button, and this is an Amazon-type experience where you get to go down, find the medication. You can research other medications that maybe your doctor didn't talk to you about at the time because this is a journey. There's no way in 20 minutes we're going to be able to educate you on this world of wellness and anti-aging. Can't happen. Right. It's going to take subsequent visits. As you have visits every 6 months with our provider or more frequent if needed, you're going to learn more and you're going to become an expert. And in 5 years, you're going to be educating your buddies and telling your girlfriends about it. We can't do it all at once. Right. But we provide podcasts and we provide blogs to help you with that. But that store will allow you to find quick hits on things you need. And you can simply click. Now, it's not an Amazon experience in that it's not automatic. Right. Our providers do have to look at that and approve it. But if it's approved for use in you, or it's something that's already on your chart, it's going to be mailed out within 24 to 48 hours. If not, our provider is going to look at it and we're going to give you some reasoning. We need some lab work or we need to talk to you. But in most cases, for a lot of what we use, it's going to be approved because these are performance enhancing things that we can prescribe to most people in most situations.
Well, they've already been approved by our providers. Sure. Our providers are not going to approve us to, offer a product or a solution to a patient that is going to harm them in any way, to your earlier point, right? So as long as the provider has had this conversation with the patient previously or is willing to at least consider it, they do have to look at it, and they have to sign off on it. And there's a process by which they approve it and it goes out. So, but that's extremely progressive and that's extremely convenient, right? Versus having to call and hopefully wait.
And I'm sure our competitors will be mirroring this after this.
Well, probably. That's okay, though. Yeah. That's okay. We're ahead of the game.
So as we move into 2023 and what we're coming up here to start on January the 9th, what we're going to do, let's level set and then I'll let you kind of launch into it. In the past, at Elite Health Online, you've had to pay for 6 months of medication up front. We've been able to split that into a 3 month, and you get 3 months of medication and then 3 months will hit your card again, bill you for the second half and ship that out. That's a lot for people to swallow. While it is a very affordable lifestyle. And when I say affordable, let's talk about kind of the average male patient. It's going to take about close to $600 for 6 months of treatment. Okay. And you just will not find anyone advertising that. Again, most times there's hidden costs. Oh yeah. There's a membership fee associated with that. There's too many lab panels, high cost lab panels,
consultations,
lots of hidden fees. But with us, it's truly about $600 for 6 months of therapy. But you've had to pay that up front or split that into 2 payments. Right. Sounds expensive to some people until you break it down and think, if I go to the dentist and I have a root canal tomorrow, what am I going to have to come out of pocket, Boomer?
Right.
Probably $1,000.
Probably. Never happened.
I mean, happens, right? This is advancing your health. This is giving you optimal performance. So very affordable. I know, go to your vitamin shop, try to buy your protein and some stuff for your workouts. You're going to drop $100 a month.
Easy.
So Not unaffordable, but a lot for people to bite off at one time in some situations, right?
Right.
And so what we're doing here in 2023 is,
Well, and let me, before I announce that, let's go back a little bit more too, because I
Yep.
do want to touch on one thing and say that, previously, whenever we've had it to where the patient needed to go ahead and purchase 6 months up front, that wasn't, and this is important to say, that was not a financial decision. That was a logistics decision,
Yep.
right? We had no way of getting product to you in less of an increment than that.
Right.
Well, that's what's been figured out,
Yep.
right? Because again, to your point, most patients have no problem, and some of the patients will continue to pay for all 6 months up front. Maybe that's just how they do things, and that's fine. But for those patients that need a little bit of help, and maybe they, spread out over the year, it's not so bad. But yeah, coming $600 or $700 out of pocket in 1 month and 1 day is
In
a
December.
little bit much,
Yep.
man. Yeah, and we got December, right? Exactly. Good point. So what we're going to be launching in January of this next year is our payment plan. It's going to be called the Elite Health Payment Plan, or just the Elite Payment Plan. And what it's going to allow you to do is have the therapy that you want, maybe even consider a little bit more of what the providers told you that you should consider, but maybe you were hesitant because of cost, right? So now we have come up and finally fixed our logistical problem to where we can spread that out.
Yep.
Okay. And it's going to be a payment plan. Now, important to say, this is not a membership. One of the things we promised each other and did the fist bump on whenever we started this company is we're not going to be gimmicky. We're not going to require a membership. A membership is just extra money in the business's pocket. Nothing more, nothing less.
Watch
and
the
we're not going to go down
competitors.
that road.
They've got ads all over Facebook. $99 a month,
That's right.
$120 a month, but there's a $75 monthly membership fee just to be a part of that program.
That's right. So now what we're allowing is, and finally figured out is a way to do this. So rather than coming out of pocket up front, to your point, you can come out now. It's only, what would it end up being? $98, $99 to maybe $120 a month
I think
versus all that up front.
So let's get into that. So the specifics are for the basic testosterone package for a man. This is all inclusive. This is your lab work, your consultation with the provider for 20 minutes, and all needed consultations between that time and the next 6 months. Any follow-up labs that you need, your supplies, the delivery, and the medication for $119 a month.
Wow. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a look at that, and we've done a little bit of research. Every competitor is a little bit different, but it's your typical shot spot, right? You have to, now let's not even factor in the drive time with this. Okay. Once you pay their membership and you do have to pay for labs, you typically get one lab panel covered per year for insurance, and the rest of it's out of pocket because insurance won't cover more than one, right? Then they charge your insurance for labs. You have co-pays. Once you factor in all that plus additional medication cost, it's well over $200 a month that you're out of pocket.
Great point. So you and I both know of a recent physician that we both know who's running a clinic, and we won't say the name, but they're saying, hey, no, we don't charge for labs. We run it through your insurance. Well, that sounds like a heck of a deal. Surely they can beat 119 if they run it through my insurance. No, not so fast.
Right.
Most people, if you check your insurance, and as a lab professional and working in the lab industry and doing lab sales, let me just tell you, one of your lab panels per year will be covered, your health panel. The second one you have to run, which by the way, you're going to have to at least run 2 in most clinics, and some clinics are going to require 4. The second one will not be covered by your health plan.
Right.
And we've done the math. We've worked with our lab the labs that we utilize, and we've said, what is the average out-of-pocket cost for someone who is going for their second panel? And that number was, am I right, $250?
$256.
$256 to be specific. So $256. So now do the math. Your labs aren't free.
Right.
At all.
No, they're not free.
You're paying $99 a month, and now you're going to pay $250 for at least one of the labs, possibly 2 or 3 of the labs throughout the year.
Well, and let me just add one thing, and then you can get back to where you're going, is first of all, that first lab panel is only covered if it hasn't been previously run by another provider that same year, right? Yeah. So if you went and saw your primary care guy in January and he ran labs, you have no more free labs for the year at this point. Every lab at that point is out of pocket. So take 2 or 3 or 4 lab panels, multiply that by the average of 256, extrapolate that over the year, and now all of a sudden your HRT therapy is not $99 a month anymore.
So on a lab issue, let's circle back to convenience real quick. There are several competitors out there that offer an at-home kit.
Right.
So quote unquote. So it seems it's not really going to work.
Right.
They're going to mail you a testosterone only kit where you're going to do a finger prick, and they're going to get a baseline testosterone to see if you qualify. Then you get that, they're going to call you and say, yep, you're good to go. You have low T. By the way, they're treating your number, not your symptom. That's the first problem. Right. Second of all, now they're going to have to send you to a lab to do all the stuff that you cannot do at a home collection kit. Right. You're now weeks out. You've mailed it back, waited for them to call you. You've gone through the conversation. Now you got to go back to the lab and start over.
And you're probably not even that interested in doing therapy anymore because it's been totally inconvenient.
So with us, it's super easy. We're going to send you right straight to LabCorp, get that full lab panel done, give you everything you need, no cost to you. And then if you qualify based on symptoms and issues you're having and lab values, and we make sure that you're healthy enough for therapy, then you're going to qualify.
Right.
If you do not qualify, you don't owe us a dime.
That's right.
If you qualify and then deny therapy, we have a small fee that goes with that. You forfeit the $150, but that's for a 20-minute consultation and lab panel that you can use, and you now have valuable information.
Right.
But if you don't qualify, you don't pay a thing.
You don't pay a thing. That's
So
right.
why wait? Why go through that hassle? It's just, again, we provide a more convenient way.
Well, we do. And one thing on that too is that, look, that's not Clay and Boomer making that decision. It's not the two bald-headed guys. These are medical providers. If a medical provider says, I'm not going to treat you because of X, then yeah, first of all, you owe nothing whatsoever to the company. But then also too, the other piece of that, sometimes every once in a while we'll get somebody who has a red flag on something. Maybe the PSA is up, or maybe their liver function's up for some odd reason, and the provider just doesn't feel comfortable. We do run into that. You know, we're still going to send back a post-care treatment plan. It's going to be a recommendation for a referral to a specialist, right? Because maybe we've discovered something that you need to go have looked at. Don't worry about your HRT therapy. Go worry about what may be happening.
So I think there's a guy out there right now, or a lady sitting here going, but what about my insurance? You guys haven't mentioned insurance the one time. This is a huge perception problem that people think utilizing their insurance for HRT, is going to be more cost effective.
Right.
Let me just tell you, let me just cut to the chase. That's not true. By the time you pay, now the provider may send your prescription to a pharmacy and allow you to file that on your insurance and pay a $30 copay to pick that up at the pharmacy. That doctor is going to charge you something significant for that office visit.
Right. That's right.
It's going to cost, and you're going to pay that out of pocket. And you're going to pay for extra lab work, and you're going to pay for the office visit. At the end of the day, me and this guy have spent a lot of time making sure that we brought the most affordable option to the market. Right. And we've done it. We've worked the math 100 times over. If you actually add it all up, at the end of the day, you're spending more to utilize your insurance for your medication.
That's right.
Than you are going to a cash pay clinic like ours. Not in every situation, but in certain situations, it's still more affordable. We've run this formula numerous times, but it's a hard thing for people to grasp.
The other side of that argument is the fact that even if your insurance does cover the therapy, it's not the therapy that you need, right? Because this goes back to the protocol that we talk about.
Right.
Whenever you go in and see your doctor, typically it's a primary care doctor, and you're going in to address HRT, low T, right? Well, first of all, the lab value is going to be based on the sick patient population anyway. Right. So the doctor and probably the insurance company is only going to agree to cover your HRT
You're going to
therapy
have to be way down there
at a very, very low dose that's not even going to move the needle to get you where you need to be.
But you're also going to have a low testosterone.
Right. You're going to have a drastically low testosterone
sub
level.
300.
Oh, easily. Yeah. And then it's only going to get you to a non-therapeutic level of maybe 400 or 500, right? So, but that's only if the insurance applies. Now, if that same doctor is a little bit more progressive and says, hey, I want to get you up above that. Well, guess what? That's great. But now the insurance isn't going to pay for it anymore.
Well, then it comes back to the progressive part. That provider is also only going to be able to help you with one component, testosterone. What have we talked about on previous podcasts and our progressive part and comprehensive? That is not all there is to this world. Your eyes are going to be opened up as you become a patient and explore our website and learn that there are other medications, oxandrolone, CJC 1295, things for libido, things for weight loss, things for weight management, things for wellness, things for anti-aging. You're getting so much more value when you come to a cash pay clinic. And people would ask, but why wouldn't my provider talk to me about that? There's no incentive. Well, I've got 7 minutes with you. I need to hand you this medication, let you feel pleased, go out the door, go down to the street to the pharmacy, get your stuff, and be happy.
Because I've got a waiting room full of 15 people that need to come in here that need their 7 minutes.
What am I getting paid on? I'm getting paid on the consult.
Right.
And so I want as many consults per day as possible, as opposed to taking a patient by patient approach. So
that's right.
I think we're just to circle back though. I just want people to understand January 9th, we launch with a monthly payment plan that will allow you to either pay up front or spread out your payments in a monthly way and still receive 3 months of medication at a time. Right. We will ship 3 months of medication to your doorstep. 3 months later, you'll get another, and you'll be locked into a monthly payment plan that will allow you to kind of set it and forget it.
Right.
And then in 6 months, we will contact you. We'll set up your next appointment, get some lab work sent over. So it's super easy. 2 times a year, pop into LabCorp, get your labs done. And then later on in 2023, we have some home collection updates, not just for testosterone, but for the entire panel. So I think this has been interesting. Do you have anything else?
I got one thing I want to add, and then I'll let you close this out. But if there's, again, I like to give as much advice as I possibly can after being in the industry for so long. Some of the greatest advice I ever got, because you touched on it, all right? And this is a journey. This is not a one-stop shop. Again, that's one area that I think the traditional primary care setting gets it wrong, is they make the patients, or at least lead the patients, to believe that, hey, I'm only going to have to do this for a couple of months and then I'm good. Wow. It's not going to happen.
It's not a treatment.
It's not a treatment. It's
not a cure, sorry.
Yeah, there's an ongoing treatment. We'll put it that way, right? Because you're right. There is no cure. So the greatest piece of advice I ever got when I started, the provider told me, he goes, you're now married to 2 things. You're married to your wife and you're married to your HRT therapy, which at the time was a little shocking to me. And I thought, man, I don't want to have to do this forever. And he says, well, you don't have a choice, because your body's never going to go back to the way it functioned at 20 years old unless you do this therapy, right? So it's one of the reasons, again, on an earlier point, and then we'll move on, is we do try to educate the patients. We do try to educate everybody who comes on. Even if you don't end up ultimately being a patient with us, we still want to try to educate you and help you understand this is a journey. We're not going to load you up with baskets of medication at the very beginning, 1, because that's not really ethical. 2, we're going to start you just to where you need to be to start getting the needle moved a little bit and get you started down this road that you need to be on, because you do need to be on it for the rest of your life. Once you've qualified for therapy and get to a certain age, this is something that you just incorporate as a daily routine and a part of what it is that you do.
So awesome. Thank you. All right. So what we're going to do here in closing, thank you for joining us again today. And I want to invite you to check out other podcasts. If there's a medication or something you heard us talk about today that doesn't resonate with you and you don't know what it is, go to our YouTube channel, check that out. We can put that up on the screen now. You can click there, and I guarantee you can find a podcast where we go into deep detail on one of those medications. So whether it's weight loss, anti-aging, wellness, hormone replacement therapy, we've got podcasts where we cover that. You can also check out our blog page where we've written articles on different medications and treatments that we offer. As we close here, I just want to invite you to hang around for 90 more seconds and check out our video. It'll explain to you what it looks like to be a patient from start to finish and a little bit more about our clinic. And we look forward to seeing you on future podcasts.
Thank you.
You want to look and feel your best, and when you don't, it's frustrating to go to the doctor, only to have them tell you that you're just getting older, or that you're depressed, or even worse, you're told to just try harder. Specialized treatments work, but finding a knowledgeable doctor and then getting there can be a hassle. Not anymore. Our convenient telehealth clinic makes it easier than ever to talk to a doctor who understands what you need to reach your goals. Skip the waiting room, skip the drive, and book a phone consult with our knowledgeable doctors who will never ask you to come in. Plus, your labs are on us, so your doctor can be fully informed on your health. Then your doctor will create a customized plan based on your unique goals using our comprehensive and progressive treatment options that include both basic and advanced therapies, shipped straight to your door in a couple of days. With Elite Health Online, it's all about you. Choose what works for you, your budget, and your goals. There are no hidden fees or physical visits, and you only pay for the treatment plans that you choose to purchase. Are you ready to reach your health and wellness goals? Book a free consultation today to get started. Elite Health Online is the most convenient, comprehensive, and progressive clinic anywhere. Elite Health Online. Get results.